So today I will go through a little bit of insight and travel trends to start with. That's how I always like to start, to give you an indication of what's happening in the world of travel right now, the latest trends, because the next 10 years or so are going to be absolutely massive. And I'm going to show you how massive that's going to be. And then I will go through my system, what I used to do as a consultant and a qualitative researcher, working with the big brands, and how I've developed that methodology, the marketing methodology that really only the big brands could do because they're the only ones that could afford this, and how it's available to everybody here in this room right now because of AI. So we're going to go through that. So is that all right with everybody here? Excellent. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Now, I do have Phil moderating today. So if you have any questions, pop them into the chat. And Phil, if they're on topic, if you can, feel free to interrupt me at any time, or you can save them. I will leave that to Phil because Phil is all over it in more ways than one. And you're going to see that a bit later on because he's my star student at the moment. Now, at the end of all this, there is an offer, and I'd really encourage you to stick around because it's quite amazing. And once I go through this methodology and show you what Phil has done literally this week as part of my program, you're not going to want to miss it. So, yep, today is all about how I turned my 30 years of travel marketing knowledge into 7-day booking engine. So let's go for it. So as I had mentioned, this system, it used to take me a good 3 months of solid work. It now takes 7 days, virtually an hour a day. And that's been pretty generous, to be honest. So it wasn't only 3 months of solid work, it was also inclusive of specialist consultants. So you would have me as a travel researcher. So I would conduct lots of interviews, and then I would have strategists, I would have specialist copywriters, and all sorts of people involved. And now we can just do this at the push of a button. So let's go ahead. Let me go ahead down here. But before that, let's talk about 2025 and the next 2024, 2025 and the next 10 years. So I'm not joking when we're seeing the greatest travel boom in history. And there's so much opportunity right now. So you should be busy, regardless of what you're selling in travel. And the key reason for this is we have the most predictable marketing opportunity we've ever seen. And these are, of course, my favorite topic, baby boomers. So what's all the fuss about the boomers? And people say to me, oh, but families, let's target families. Well, I think it really helps if I show you visually, because this is very often an aha moment. We will never see so many people retiring with so much wealth and time on their hands and desire to spend it on travel ever again. And the reason this is because of the baby boomer generation here. So if we have a look at this boring graph on the right-hand side here, it's from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and it's our birth rate, it's the fertility rate. And if you're from overseas, it's pretty representative of most Western markets. So UK, Europe, and the USA as well. So this is the story. So essentially what happened after World War II is that all the men who'd been fighting wars around the world all went home at the end of the war all at once. So what do you think happened? I call it the Great Global Shag. And so all of the men went home to their wives and girlfriends, and therefore lots of babies were born. That's why we call it the baby boomer generation. Because people say, I don't like baby boomer, but there was a baby boom. We can't get past that. And so you can actually see it here. visually. So we have the depression era here where birth rates fell because women's bodies were not up to making babies. They were malnourished and things were pretty bad, to be honest. They weren't wanting to have children in this environment. When World War II ends, we have the big baby boom. And the reason that we won't ever be here ever again is because of the contraceptive pill. Yeah. So the contraceptive pill was introduced in the late 60s. And you can see all us women, we could shag as much as we wanted without becoming pregnant. Yay. So what that means is that we will never, ever have this many people retire again with this much money. Of course, we're going to have generational wealth transfer, but it won't be as many people as there are with this baby boomer because not as many people were born after that. And it really is a massive drop here. So we will never, ever have this ever again. So it really is a once in a lifetime opportunity for everybody here in this room. So there's three key forces reshaping travel, sales and marketing 2025 and beyond. Obviously, the baby boomers that I've just spoken about. And one of the key things with baby boomers, and this is something that I've been seeing in my research over the last 10 years or so, it's been growing, is that travel, they've been thinking about travel this time of their lives, the last 30 or 40 years of their lives. It is such a high involvement purchase. And so what we see is travelers, high value travelers, high spending travelers, literally putting in hundreds of hours a year of research into planning their travels. It's a hobby for these people. So this is regardless of whether you're a travel advisor, they use a travel agent, or whether they book their own travels. They will still put in that research. And I'm sure that as a travel advisor, you've seen it. They all come to you with all their information, and then you're able to give them your kind of ungoogleable experience and your points of view and so forth. So what that means is it's gold. So what we have to do collectively as an industry is satiate that demand for what Google calls EAT content, which is content that is less functional, not boring, and certainly not from ChatGPT directly. So they're looking for content that shows your experience, your expertise, your authority and trustworthiness. And that's what high value travelers are looking for. So this is why content marketing needs to be your focus because of all these hours, and they're planning not just for the year ahead. I've seen in my research people planning a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years ahead. People, ladies, plan travel for when their husbands die because they know that men generally pass away earlier than women. I've had that a few times as well. So the key is to make sure that you've got plenty of content, plenty of good content, by the way, to help your traveler. And of course, the other thing that is happening right now, literally right now, the last few months, is the way that Google is and the internet and how people search is completely changing. And travelers, as a rule, no matter what age, tend to grasp technology leaps before the general population. And again, this is something I noticed in my research. Travelers, because of the amount of research they do, and they get absolute joy out of their research, most of them in this cohort, are starting to discover generative AI. So that's ChatGPT, Claude, and all the other AI little tools we use. And you've probably seen Google AI overviews as well. So what that means is that we've seen a lot of the big brands plummet in their clicks, if you like, of the people, the traffic going to their sites because they're not being presented in AI. And there's a few reasons for that, which I'll go through in just a moment. So there's a massive opportunity for growth. But what I see is many travel businesses and brands and marketing still like it's 2005. And that's big brands and small brands, and some just aren't marketing at all. And one of the other things I see too is a lot of the larger travel brands putting all of their marketing dollars into digital or advertising agencies who are protecting their cash flow. So these agencies are saying, yep, I can do all this, when in fact they can't. There's a lot to lose if you're an agency right now. And I'm calling it out. So what we're seeing right now, there's a lot of content chaos. And that's what I mean by that is stuff when travelers are searching their blogs, their emails, their socials, a lot of it is being drawn from ChatGPT and not changed, particularly if there's agencies using it or we're creating our own content. There may be no humans coming in at the end. It's disconnected, it's bland. I call it canned content because it all sounds the same. If you're old enough to remember that canned laughter, canned content is becoming prolific. And what that means is that if you're a massive brand spending millions of dollars on advertising, TV, the Sunday papers or whatever, that means that you're getting all these travelers with your beautiful ads to your website and they have a poke around and they go, oh, this is boring, or it sounds just like the website I was on before, and they bounce. That's what a bounce rate is. So we're seeing generic content pulled from APIs, from tour companies all over the place. It's boring, and travelers, they're trying to plan. So if you're a travel advisor, this is a fabulous opportunity because these travelers are reading a lot of content that doesn't sound much. And it sounds like all the other brands. So we're seeing a lot of the brands, and I particularly see it in the larger tour companies and the cruise agency, the cruise brands as well. They're losing their positioning in the market. They're losing. So for a traveler, for example, wanting to look for a cruise, it's really hard for them to work out on their own what cruise is for them now because they're all starting to sound the same, don't you reckon? So, and one thing, more content and options does not equal faster booking process. There's a lot of analysis paralysis and boredom setting in now for our travelers. And of course, the AI search shift, GEO and AI overviews is changing the way that travelers are searching for stuff as well. So we're all drifting at the moment, wondering what to do. And our travelers desperately want to travel. They want good information. They're willing to pay for amazing experiences. They're expecting our travel advisors to have been to places and, as I mentioned, offer those ungoogleable experiences. But as we're drifting with our sales and marketing, we're losing inquiries because we're not familiar with the customer journey, and hours and hours wasted each week on ad hoc. Oh, I've got to put a social post up, or I better send an email out. We've got that brand burnout and dilution. And what we're also seeing, if you're a small player like me or any number of people here, the big guys, and I'm going to show you this in a moment, Phil's here, are being leapfrogged by nimble solopreneurs. And I'm going to show you in just a sec what that looks like. It's really exciting, actually. If you want your ideal traveler to buy from you or your brand, you need to build in the trust, reputation, and authority. That's what the Gen AIs are looking for, and the Googles. When I would talk about Gen AI, that means ChatGPT. If they're going down that route, your content needs to be not only easily read by your traveler, but also by these engines as well now too. And my methodologies that I've used has always been the same. A lot of the things we do in marketing has remained the same, but the executions tweak or they're different. Your content needs to sell to your ideal clients while you're sleeping. And the wonderful thing now with AI, we can do it at scale. How did we do this before? How did I work with my clients before, and how did I put it into AI? In all travel businesses, big and small, we all ultimately drive for exactly the same thing. We all want bookings, don't we? We want bookings and inquiries. That's what makes our world go round, and we want repeats. But universally, I've found in my last 30 years, and especially last 20 being a consultant to the big brands with my research, there's three common obstacles to all of us in the industry in creating more inquiries and bookings. So I set out to find three solutions and one big plan. That was all part of my system. And when you kind of go through this stuff, it's beautiful in its simplicity. The three main problems and barriers to consistent growth in our industry are these three things here. Number one, most people don't know or aren't terribly clear on who's the right person to target, or if they are clear, they're not terribly consistent in how they deliver their information and sell their travel services. Or it's either very, very functional as well. So it's not talking to your ideal client. What marketing actually works. A lot of us don't really know that. And distribution, we are crazy busy all the time. We don't want to dabble. We just want to focus on marketing that works. And here's the thing, many people are aware of these problems, or actually most of my clients in the big space were unaware of these problems. So we needed to find universal solutions for all of these, I guess, problems and solve them. So who to target? Finding out who to target and who to sell to, you actually need traveler research and insight. And this is primary traveler research and insight, and it's something that I've been doing for a really long time. And in particular, I've been doing qualitative research. For example, if you're familiar with Brene Brown, that's what she does. So I interview travelers all the time to find out what they're thinking about, how they book, where they're thinking about going, how they buy, how long ahead they're planning their travel. This is the sort of stuff that you really need to know. And before anything, if you don't get this stuff right, nothing that you do beyond this will work for you. So we need to work with the most up-to-date research and insight. We need to understand how our high-value travelers buy. And we need to understand the customer journey. So the 8 stages of the customer journey. And Carolyn Childs and myself created the first customer journey for Google, I reckon about 15 years ago. And it's pretty solid. It's changed a little bit. We've added bits here and there as technology and ways to research travel has evolved. But it's complex. It's not straightforward. The next obstacle is just working out what the hell's going to work with our limited time. So what works is connecting our travelers with content and using our content as a sales tool and really respecting that sales tool, thinking that they're going to spend a lot more time with your content online than they are with you, the brand or the consultant. So again, just reinforcing, they will spend hundreds of hours. They will get to your website, they'll poke around and they'll look at one blog, they'll look at another blog, they'll look at information. That information's got to be interesting enough to hold them, and the longer they're on your website or your blog or whatever you do, the more likely they're going to trust your brand. So if you just link functional aspects of your cruise or the inclusions or the price, and day one we're doing this and day two we're doing this, without saying why we're going here, and imagine how you feel when you see the pyramids for the first time, when it's something that you've been thinking about as a 7-year-old kid. We need to weave emotion. That's one thing that I learned when I was working with the brand team at Qantas during the I Still Call Australia Home campaign. I worked with some of the greatest brand minds and learned from them. Emotion is the holy grail of marketing. if you can get that emotional connection and have your ideal traveler read something and have them go, oh, these guys really understand what I'm looking for, that is gold. So we then create as much of that content as possible. And previously, that was a pretty manual job where we had to write. And then the actual problem of where do I put all this marketing stuff? Where do I put all the content that I've created? It was on blogs. So we would put it on websites and we would email that blog. We would put it on socials. We would put it on YouTube. And believe it or not, email is still the number one most successful marketing methodology out of absolutely everything. It will still give you your biggest return on investment. So, and the best thing about it, it's free, mostly free, but it takes time to actually create something beautiful, although it did. And then we can automate all of this tracking and optimizing to see what works as well. So what did that look like? I call it, so that was the system. That's what I used to do with my clients. So this is kind of, I kind of call it the vintage handcrafted travel marketing machine before AI. It was a lot of hours of human manual work and literally thousands and thousands of dollars. People here, most people in this group, it would be cost prohibitive. So I used to do these qualitative traveler interviews face to face. And I still do these. Actually, this is one part I still hold onto because interviewing travelers face to face and being able to dig down behind their rational responses is where you get the gold. And anyone here who has access face to face to talk to your customers, you are probably going to be at the biggest advantage moving forward as we kind of use less humans. What I do is I'd find out why they want to travel, how they buy. So I've crafted or developed 10 or 12 content pillars that come out of my research over and over again. So I would tie these content pillars to itineraries or particular showcasing that the brand wanted to do. And we would write 12 beautifully crafted, emotionally connecting blog posts. We would tie these to the 8 stages of the customer journey. And it would literally take 3 months of solid manual work and thousands of dollars. We'd repurpose all of that again into social posts. It was beautiful, strategic, and it would increase the return on ad spend. So what that means is when they were doing their big, beautiful ads, people would see the ad, then they'd log on, they'd go to the website and they'd see really lovely content that would keep them on the site for a while. And as long as they're on the site, they're developing trust. That's what content marketing is all about. That's why content is super important. So I worked with a range of brands around the world. I even used to advise Google on how to advise their clients on content as well for their landing page. So now with AI, I've spent the last year and a bit thinking and working out and also studying with the likes of Stern University, New York, AI. How can I get all of this stuff and get into AI and essentially get what's in my brain into a machine? That's what I've done. So I've been able to condense all of my knowledge accumulated over 20, 30 years in the industry and researching travelers into a little chat GPT brain, if you like. It's really phenomenal what we can do with all of this. It's incredible. So today, instead of taking 3 months, it takes 7 days, an hour a day, same depth, same output. It's just insane what's possible. And this is just the beginning. We are at the beginning. So if anyone comes on board with this, right now you become an innovator. Phil will share a bit about that at the moment. So, my steps that I used to create all that content, it's simple, it's proven. I've condensed all that knowledge into feel like it's almost a stronger system because nothing gets missed or left to chance. And it's really easy for solopreneurs or small teams or even big teams to implement. I'll show you a little bit of that in a moment. And you know what? It's not rocket science. So, what we do is we have our weekly blog every week. Our team, our coaching team creates a blog. You send it out via email. You put several social media posts over the week. You may or may not put something up on YouTube where you talk to it and you review your stats. So, what we do at that point is go back to our email stats, see who's opened it, how many people have opened it, and use that information to go outbound, to message or pick up the phone when you've got a client that's opened that email 20 times. That probably means that they've sent it on to friends and family. It's not a booking for 2, it could be a booking for 10. So we flag all that sort of stuff. So we've got 1 core asset, 4 derivative assets, and compound authority every single week. And when you're doing that for a while through AI, it's seamless. It might take an hour or 2 every week. And as a solopreneur, if you can't spend an hour or 2 every week on marketing your business, there's something wrong. And if we do this every single week, you will get a consistent flow of inquiries that turn into bookings. That's just the way it works. And I always have to say, because I know people are thinking, well, I can do this on ChatGPT. What I've developed is not ChatGPT. It is custom. It is something that I've built. So, for example, I spoke about the customer journey that we created all those years ago. My continuous research has ratified and added to that. I've been able to put that here into the travel marketing machine where you can choose now manually how you want to position your article, for example. So you can, in the 8 stages, you can choose dreaming, planning, the booking stage, all sorts of stages. And then, for example, you can choose your emotional content pillar. So local immersive experiences, personal transformation, learning, it's all in there. So behind this interface is like mountains and mountains of research about how travelers choose travel. And there's also sections in here where you can add your personal perspectives. And this is probably the most important bit. If you want to be seen online or if you want to be read by your regular clients, by your emails, is your personal perspectives and points of view. While everybody is out there putting out generic content, your personal perspectives and your professional critiques based on how you serve your ideal client are more important than ever. This is what they are looking for. Google and all the generative AI, and also your travelers are looking for this. So, in my research, constantly people are saying things like, why would I book a trip with a travel advisor if I can find all the information myself? They expect you to be out there looking for amazing experiences, doing ship inspections, having relationships with the suppliers and coming back and reporting on that for them. You've got to be fine on the go the whole time. And I hear you. You've also actually got to do the work as well. But I want to show you something truly amazing that's happened this week. We've been working on this solidly for a little while, but we've been able to do is with the travel marketing machine, I've been able to put in all of the systems the way that Google and the Gen AI, the chat GPTs, etc., want the information presented in a certain way on your blog so that it gets presented and it picks out who it thinks are the best authorities on particular topics. And it's not completely random. It may seem completely random, but we've engineered it so that we can have any of our businesses standing next to the big guys. And I want to show you the proof of that, that old, I should say, pre-AI methodology that I used to do with the big brands, how we've been able to bring it down to essentially anyone. So Phil, I don't know if you've Phil joined me about, a little bit less than a year ago, and we've been working really hard. But these are actually blogs that we created with the methodology and the travel marketing machine that went up probably about a month ago. This particular one, when Gorgan went into Darwin, Phil did a ship inspection and he's written beautiful, very comprehensive long-form blog articles. And what we discovered this week is that Google has picked up Phil, who works from home as a home-based travel advisor in Cairns, a solopreneur, is standing alongside Kentucky, Time Out, Global Journeys, Silver Seas, Emerald, Penang, in not just one, but several of his articles. It's incredible. So we've got these two articles, and then we have another couple here that's just, I think these came through yesterday. And we can see on the left-hand side, Mediterranean cruises for solo travelers. Now, these have all been done incognito. So if you Googled that, what you can see here on the left is Phil. This is him here, the article he created with the travel marketing machine. And up here, it's quoting his article up the very top, before Silver Sea, Celestial, Emerald. Over here as well, European festivals. So Phil has a special interest in music and traveling for music, which is a huge thing right now. His festival article is in the AI overviews, up there with Time Out. Amazing. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about that, Phil, if you're willing and able?
Yeah, sure. I started with Bronwyn in October, I think it was. So it's been a little bit over 6 months and gone through a couple of iterations of the travel marketing machine, which is Bronwyn's amazing tool. And yeah, so the articles that I've written there, a couple of them have been on my website for a little while, but they've just appeared on the AI overview, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have thought that I'd ever be up there on that side of things without advertising or something like that. So it works. And the articles themselves, I basically use Bronwyn's tool to say, well, this is what I want to write about. I know that people are looking for festivals in Europe, and what festivals do people go for, and all of that sort of stuff, and built in a little bit of my own personal travel experience in Europe because I'm a Europe destination expert. There it is. Just came out. It is. And it created the article for me. I said, okay, that's great. I'm going to do the blog. So I wrote the blog, and then I went, well, I want to send an email as well. So it designed the email campaign for me and sent the email campaign out. So I think the one with the Mediterranean cruises for solo travelers, I was just having a quick look in my email database, and 40% of my email database opened that email. Yeah, I had a few people click through to the article as a result of that.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of
now
thing.
your job is to call them, Phil.
Yeah. Yeah. Follow up.
And we've all heard it before, the fortune is in the follow-up, but the leads are coming. It's amazing. So Spell, that's awesome. And so we've had quite a few massive things happen over the last month. because of this methodology. So Sarah, who's here, last year she made in a month her entire year's revenue. Julie is consistently getting at least 50K bookings once a week. So between 50 and 100K every week just from doing this method by email. Narelle has, for the first time ever, had interstate leads rolling in from her content. So she serviced a small part of regional coastal Australia. So now her content is displaying everywhere because people are searching. They're on there for hours. And you get in that rabbit hole, whether it's with AI or whatever, they find her. And it's truly amazing. And then they get on their list, they get on Narelle's list because she has a lead magnet, and then she can communicate with them. So this is all built in. And we have a lovely story with Outback Astronomy in Broken Hill. They had launched their solar eclipse all-nighter, and it's basically nearly sold out after one email. And they were just completely blown away, which is amazing. So the biggest travel boom in history is here. Question is your marketing ready? Here is the offer if you want to be a part of this. And, with AI and with what I'm doing, it's really early days. And the way I'm presenting this at the moment is the 7-day content sprint. What that means is we get you up and running we take you all through the latest trends in the research and create content for an hour a day for the next 7 days. So you will literally create a weekly campaign over 3 months in that 7 days. And then you stay with us every week. We do a check-in call where we check the stats and tweak and whatever. And voila, bookings. And you could be the next lucky Phil. I bet you're sick of that, Phil. And to be honest, it's priced exceptionally low. The reason is I want some case studies. I want more success stories. We've got a lot now, but I just want to build it up. And it will go up. And if you've been with me before, I do this staggered pricing. So this is definitely for the early adopters here and the innovators of the industry. Now, we have one starting on the 11th of August. So where we just kick off, we have the implementation calls, we have the real traveler research. You get access to the travel marketing machine for 3 months. And it comes back with a money back guarantee. If you go through with it and you genuinely have not got anything out of this, I'll give you your money back. And I only have 20 seats for this particular intake because I want to work individually with people. I feel that we get a lot out of it in a small group. And I want to avail myself as well for one-on-ones. So some people I give one-on-one coaching sessions as well while we're creating this. So we're all kind of creating it together. And here's something exciting. I believe so much in these stats and the next 10 years and the methodology. I've just decided to build a travel business alongside you. I love the solo niche. And so what I'm doing here, I'm building the Solo Travel Collective. If you go there now, it's actually a really bad website that I've created by myself. But I want to be in a position where I'm creating alongside in a real case scenario and sharing everything I do with everybody who's coming with me. That's exciting. What happens each day? Day one, we have a mini conference for 3 hours where I walk through the system. I walk through all the latest research and trends and how we work, the content pillars, the traveler customer journey. Day two, we choose our 12 topics and we write our first content. And we just continue every single day. We send our first email out to your database within that week and we check the stats and we learn how to read our email stats as well. So we're also looking at creating a lead magnet, which is something we give out in exchange for someone's email address. It could be, top 10 solo travel cruises or something like that. And then we just keep at it. If you want to take this up, please scan this. It will take you to the page. I have 20 of these available. I have a few already gone. After that, it will increase to $14.97. Okay, that's because, it is such exceptional value and you're seeing the results here today. It's really interesting. The great thing is if you're a smaller business, a solopreneur, or even, with a small team, you are able to be nimble and fast, unlike the big brands. The big brands, trust it for me, I've spoken to a lot of them. They're still working it out. They have no idea how they're going to take this and execute on it. So we are in very, very early days. The price will just increase. I'll take you through a few FAQs. A few people have said to me, I really want to do this, but I can't attend this intake. What I'm going to do for you is if you pay in this intake, you can come into the next intake. Just to preserve that pricing, you've turned up, you spent time with me, and I really appreciate that. And hey, we're in travel, we travel. So this is what we deal with. So if you miss a session, I record it. And then I am also available for one-on-ones as well. If you need to catch up, we're also available there for that. If you want to stay on, it is, and that's Rachel. I see if you want to stay on, it's $4.97 a month after this. And it's a bit of a shock, but that's what it is monthly. So this is a great deal, as you can see. But you'll make that up in your commissions with at least, you'll get a couple of bookings out of this methodology, which is what's happening now. People say, oh, but it's ChatGPT. I can do all this myself. Yes, you can, but you won't have the research. The research is my moat, and that is something that I have. You can do research in ChatGPT, deep research, and use that. Absolutely. Please go ahead. But it's the qualitative data that you need. And if you're using digital marketing agencies, here's one thing. They'll tell you, oh, yes, we do all this, but they don't. They can't do all this. The thing with any agency right now, they're in a bit of a flap because they stand to lose big time. I really, hand on heart, yes, Emma, $4.97 for 3 months. Emma, you've been on the fence for a long time, love. You better be here. So, yeah, I am passing on my cost savings, if you like, but I know a lot of the agencies are not. They're using ChatGPT, create your content, and they're saving so much in hours. Emirates. Oh, okay, Leanne, I don't know if you meant to put that there. Oh, hang on. I'm just looking at the chat. Okay, $4.97 for 3 months. Yes, that's right. So, yeah, hopefully that's answered a few questions. So, yeah, I'll open it to the floor now. What questions do you have? Are you keen? Is this resonating? Any feedback or comments? How are we going? Everyone's gone all quiet, but you're all still here. Hi, bro. Hang on. Is the marketing machine based on particular? No. Okay. That's a good question, Leanne, because you need to have an email provider. You do your own. So we've got, I think Phil uses MailerLite. He loves it. MailChimp is in there. Some people use Campaign Monitor as well. So yeah, so you need to have your own email provider and a place to put your blogs. Do you use paid boosts as well? No, because this is specifically about owned content. We use owned media. Now, we make sure everything we do is on a blog or a website we own, and we own our email database. Then we put it onto social media. organic. Because the thing we're doing here too, guys, is we're building business assets. Thanks, Jane. We are creating business assets. Yay, Emma. Thank you. So when you're creating all of your content on Facebook, you're creating a massive asset for Zuckerberg, and he can just switch that off at any time. When you create your content on the website you own and you're sending it out to the database you own, you are not only building your marketing, but you're building your business, because websites and email databases are really what it's all about. It's where the value lay in your business. So there we go. Okay, Susan, thank you. Oh, thanks, love. Contact Al. No. Yes, you can use your CRM, your WordPress, anything, as long as it gets out to people. Yay, Lee's there. Who else is in?
Add something, Bron.
Yeah.
I've been with you since the start, and I surprisingly got an email from a marketing agency last week, just trying to, I don't know where they got my email from. And so I read it, and they were trying to get me to use their services to post my social media. So I thought, I'm just going to go check them out. And they work with companies in the travel industry. And I felt really bad, but I literally had to email them back and say, oh, I'm fine, thank you. But the standard was not a patch on the standard that your students are putting out using the travel marketing machine. It looked amateurish.
Yeah.
But in the past, I might not have realized that. But because of what we've been working on and putting out, it was really obvious that they just didn't have the same level of insight that they could bring to the actual, they were just bog standard Instagram posts and the like. So it really does make a difference.
It does. And it's a real danger to your brand to outsource that sort of stuff when they're using the generic ChatGPT. So the way I've engineered mine, the interface is exactly like ChatGPT, but I am directing it behind there. You've got Bronwyn sitting behind it going, today we're going to talk about travel as a transformational tool. Today we're going to talk about how you actually get to meet locals rather than saying just local immersive experiences. How many times have we all read that? So absolutely, there's a huge amount that sits behind the travel marketing machine that is not in ChatGPT. And that's the beauty of this product. Thanks, Sarah. Can I re-show the schedule for 11 August? Sure. Let me go back. Which one was it? Here. So with 11 August, so Leanne, basically, if there's some things you can't make, I can make it up with you. So I have this whole week available to meet one-on-one with people to fill in any gaps if someone's away, if someone's got to pick up kids or drop kids off that day. It's pretty flexible.
It's the Tuesday and the Wednesday. I've got full day training sessions in Sydney on the Tuesday. But the Tuesday, that's just a 1 hour commitment from 8 till 9.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's all it is. So on Tuesday, I want you to create your first blog post. Or actually Tuesday, no, we're going to create the list of blog posts. So it really is pretty simple. And I guess Sarah and Phil can probably talk to that as well. It seems overwhelming. Like you read that and you go, oh my God, that's going to take me hours.
I've already got a list.
Awesome. But once you get the hat, look, it's not rocket science to use it. The rocket science is taken me a whole year to build this thing. And it is just, it's accessible. Yeah.
So I would probably be on the Tuesday, I'd be on a train between 8 and 9 on Tuesday. What's on the Wednesday? It's been out. I'll still be down there in Sydney, but I could do 8 till 9 from my hotel. Yeah.
And if not, you'll know how to do it by then. So you can do it yourself and then we can meet later that day or another time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Naomi.
Yeah, so it's just those 2 days that I've got that commitment. But yeah, I've signed up anyway. I'll just need to decide whether I do the 11 August intake or the one after.
Yeah, look, I'm flexible. You could, like I say, we're in travel. Many of us have small families as well, and that's what we're all built for.
Yeah. Now I'm keen to get started as soon as possible. So
Fantastic. Diane, you've got that lovely, beautiful place with the animals.
Then I asked the question.
Okay.
She just asked if it was 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. And I think you're in WA. So if you've got your morning routine, you'll have to put me first. If you're in the 5 a.m. club. Or you can just come along like, what's his name that comes and doesn't speak? It's okay. Luke. So we have someone who's not a morning person and he just turns up half asleep and he doesn't speak until the end of everything. So, yeah. Alrighty. Anything else before I head off? Any questions? Who's coming? Yay. I think we've got a few in. Siri, I want to see you there, Siri. Content create. Yes. Anything you want. Do we do an interface like ChatGPT? Yes. It's similar to ChatGPT. It's if you can do ChatGPT or if you can ask a question into a Google search bar, you can do this.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you.
Maybe show you guys. Does anyone want to stick around and I'll show you?
Yes, please, if you can.
People just hanging around and ask, if you've got a minute, we can play with it. Now, oh my God, now I have to move all my little Zoomy things. I'll stop sharing for a minute. I'll have to sign in everything. Now I can see everybody who's here. Yay. Okay, there we go. Just give me a minute. Talk amongst yourselves and I will unveil it. Okie dokie, here we are. Siri, you would get so much out of this. I know a bit about your business now and I feel like, you've just got to do this. Okay. Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Okay. Alrighty. So it looks a bit messy down here, but on the left-hand side, we have the travel marketing machine. That is the main brain. We have the fam trip storyteller. And what that is designed for, if you go on a fam trip or if you have an agent that goes onto a fam trip, they can use this. It's like a journalist interviewing them. And I'll take you through all this. My favorite, solo traveler content. And then we've got a bit of a freestyling one. So I'm going to go here into the travel marketing machine. And this is where Phil mostly hangs out for his amazing content. And the interface is similar to ChatGPT, but I've just put in a few drop downs here. So there's a place here if you, for example, want to put a website, a URL link or video link, or if you've been on a famil and they've given you a itinerary, you can paste that in here. You choose what you want to do. So the first question is, which stage of the customer journey are we creating content for today? So, and on day one of the challenge, I spend a good solid 3 hours with you deep diving into things like the traveler customer journey, how travelers choose travel, and then we go into the content. So all of this stuff will make a lot more sense to you. So most people sit here. So we'll go into the planning stage. And then which content pillar? So again, these have been researched and researched and researched. The most important thing to people when they travel with is humans. Generally speaking, humans they travel with, humans we meet along the way, the locals, but also things like personal transformation, opportunities to learn. So you've got everything in here. So let's go in here. You can pick one or you can pick many. Let's pick, say, Intrepid. Intrepid, India. You can choose your tone of voice. I feel like I'd be adventurous and confident. If you have your own brand guidelines, you can paste them in here, but it's not mandatory. And this is where the magic happens. So what I encourage everyone to do, even if you're not coming to this or not to the 11th or not, is start using voice when it comes to AI and any chat GPT. So I've got this little, recording. So a little recording tool here that we're all talking to. Hang on. And then you start talking. So I went to India with Intrepid and it was the most life-changing experience that I've ever had. As so many people say, it's a culture shock, but it's a shock to so many senses and to see life at its best and at its worst. When I went to India, I truly felt like I was alive. The smells, the spices, the people, the food, it was everything I could ever imagine and more. And some of the historical sites they just blew me away. So that puts it all in there. And the reason that I encourage you to talk into it is because even when you're fumbling and doing a bit of verbal diarrhea, you can just say so much more. You can dig to so much more personally as well. And this is where the gold comes in. This is why Phil's articles are starting to come through because he really puts his heart and soul into this section. And yeah, you can see how easy that was. If you have an itinerary, so you could put the actual itinerary you went on, the itinerary you're promoting. So Siri, you could put one of your itineraries going to your website and then it will go and draw that information. It's optional, by the way. And we've got all your call to actions here. So we're chat with us. So this section here, you can either say yes. So this is pretend stories. It's going to allow for pretendy stories. And down here, if you don't want them to use pretend stories. So what it's doing is it goes into my brain that I created first and draws on that, matches it with what I've put in there and does the output. And you can see the output's a little bit different. The reason we're doing this is because this is what Google Gen AI wants. So we have it programmed to create a beautiful blog post. I don't know if you saw the email, we'll go back. And also social media posts and a script for YouTube if you want. Let's go back to the top. Here we go. Let's have a look. What does it feel like? Yeah. So this section here is what we create in order for the Gen AIs to read it. And it's, as a result, you get seen. It's basically putting a synopsis of the information that we have in that blog piece up the top so that it can quickly read it, get a sense of what it is, prioritize it amongst all the others. Yeah, so this is created something really nice, culture history, planning tips, frequently asked questions. Now, as I say, this is great. However, it takes you 80% there. I really want you to think about going back and being a human and humanizing it even further. So while it will do most of it for you, you've got your internal link suggestions. So again, this is one of the things that works really well. So it's a really nice little article. It's given us the email summary. So what we do in the methodology is we create an email every week. So we post that onto our blog, onto our website. Then what we'll do, we'll post this email out to our database. We do this every single week and we point it to that post. Because what we want people to do when they open our email is click on the link and land on our website. We will collect a library of beautiful, inspirational, trustworthy articles so that our ideal clients can get to know us and trust us and get a feel for our brand and who we are, and also the computers, the bots. You've got your social media posts you can put on LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever you want, and a short script. So what you can do here is if there's something you want to change, you can change it. So that kind of makes it there. Oh, great. And then I'm going to quickly show you, because I love my solo tool. So solo traveling is enormously huge. It's just, they reckon, I've read stats that it represents 20 going on to 25% of the travel market right now. So, and when I talk about solo, it can be a solo traveler, or it can be a group of friends traveling solo, but they just want their own room. So it can mean many different things. So what I've done, not all solos are the same. So we talk about high value travelers here. So, for example, Suri, if you wanted to, I feel like India is a place where women go to really discover who they are. So somebody who's just recently divorced, who, is ready to break out. And these are all based on my research. And I've spent a lot of time, with these guys. So we're going to go for, there we go. She's planning. Okay, she wants to do local personal transformation, bit of everything, bit of adventure. What are we going to choose? What's your company? Siri, type it in for me.
Namaskar, Indian Tours.
Namaste.
I have it for you.
Put it in there. Put the link in and we'll see what it comes, if I can get it to go the link in the chat. Here we go. Okay. No, would you like to share? I want you to go to the namaskarindiatour.com website
Here.
and create an article about how the tours can transform you, and you're going to be connected to the locals as they are a local operator. Yeah. There we go. I'll put that in again. Start dreaming. I want them to chat. Let me see if it went to your website. Okay. This is a little bit short for me. Based in Jaipur. Okay.
It's where we are. I mean, I'm in Sydney, but here the head office is in Jaipur.
Safety features journey. Yeah, I think safety is a big concern for women traveling on their own. Okay.
Incredibly. It's a Bible.
Comfort. Yeah, because these are the things that come through, especially women that are newly on their own. So what we're seeing a lot of the time with these ladies is they've never traveled by themselves before. They've always traveled with their husband, or they've just not traveled. Specific, I want an email and socials. And with all of these tools, if it doesn't present what you want straight away, there's an element of what we call training in it. So we need to train. And if it doesn't do something quite right or the way we want, we tell it like a human. It's quite bizarre. So what we could do is just put a link to your tour in here, or if you've got a PDF itinerary, we can put that in here. And with your point of view, like you can talk to it and talk about what you love about the tour and why you think it's going to be safe for someone in that little box, and put your spin on it.
Well, thank you.
Pleasure. So there we go. We've all had a bit of a look now.
And just another question. So we have got a good customer base in France and European countries like Belgium. We've got a lot of French tourists coming, and now we are exploring the market. We are just entering into Australia. So can we apply that same principles in France? We do have social media team in India.
Yeah.
I was just looking into it. I need to speak to the founder. But does that rule apply regardless of where you are?
Yeah, look, it's Western markets. So if you're marketing to Western markets, the research is pretty consistent. There might be occasional differences and nuances here and there, but for the most part, there's similarities across the world.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah.
For me, my primary concern is Australia, New Zealand markets. I guess I'm sitting at right spot.
Yeah, look, this will work as long as you're creating content that's relevant and in a way that Google likes it. I mean, they're all, again, it's why people travel, and the customer journeys are fairly similar across Western markets.
Sounds good. Well, thank you.
No worries. All right. Well, I might call it a day.
Diane had a question.
All right, Diane, go for it.
She wanted to know how long you retain access to the system for.
Okay.
Sorry, I've muted you.
Here we go. So, Diane.
Sorry about that.
90 days. So you have 90 days to create. And for you, I mean, you have such beautiful product there with your animals and just pet friendly, and the nature. Everything about it is beautiful. You could create enormously, that emotional content that we're looking for, that people want.
I'm actually looking to see how it would fit for our NDIS market. And I'm just watching what you're doing and trying to think, because it's so specific and so detailed. It is sort of different to the the dog and the horse friendly sort of market that I would normally do. And it's like, make it work. And yeah.
What we would do in that case, remember we had where we could add files? The first thing we would put in there, like if you had a list of what you wanted included in the article in relation to the NDIS ideal traveller. So if you just uploaded your ideal traveller in there, it would create it to that.
Okay. Right.
So if you had it on a piece of paper, on a PDF or something, have you got all written out?
No, not specifically like that. I haven't. It's all in my head, of course.
Yeah, well, get it out of your head into a PDF.
Yep.
And then we can do it. Or just talk into it. You saw how I talk into it. So you could, even if you downloaded ChatGPT to your phone. So we do all sorts of things. But start talking to it and ask it to create an ideal client profile.
Yeah.
Your NDIS customer. And
Yeah,
it will
right.
do it for you. We'll copy that, put it into a document and upload it.
We give it that avatar. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, and we can do that on a one-on-one call if you want to.
Yeah, that might be the way to go because it's very different. Yeah, yeah. So, and when does
I've worked with people in the NDIS,
Right.
and the key thing that I do know is that pictures and images and descriptions are really super important.
Yeah.
And you can do the descriptions by voice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, that's not a problem. But yeah. All right. And when does this start?
11 August.
The 11th of August for a week.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. I will mull on that. Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Fantastic. All right, everyone. Well, I'll leave you all to it. It was great to meet some faces that, I've seen a lot on LinkedIn or whatnot. So lovely to meet everyone. And thank you for spending all this time with me. I know everyone's so busy, so I'm really chuffed. It's awesome. All right. We'll talk soon, hopefully, if you're all been here this long.
Thank you, Ron.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks, Phil. Thanks.